Welcome to another episode of the LanceScurv Show this morning. And it's been a while. Hello, everybody. I'm still here. I just woke up not too long ago. I was up late. We're just recording a session with Pastor Janine on Christian dating. Interesting video. I'm going to have this up during or after this show. A lot of rumors going around. I don't know what it is. Lance gave up because of the YouTube boycott. No. Never did this for money, y'all. I've been doing this for years. A little bit, a couple $100 that I made, fine. That's not stopping me, as you can see. Look, I'm a Jamaican actually. I work 19 jobs. Money from YouTube is the least thing on my mind. That being said, we have Dusty Walker. He's here to talk about the topic that we've been wanting to talk about for the longest time. Yes, I sound sleepy. I just jumped up like a few minutes ago. And it's wonderful. What's up, Mark Black? How you doing, brother? Is creditworthiness the new Jim Crow for Black people? You can say it better than me, Dusty. A little bit about yourself again for those who haven't heard you, because this is really a short one.
Right. Okay, I'm going to move around so y'all can hear me clearly. Good morning, everybody. My name is Dusty Walker Jr. Currently, I'm based in Nashville, Tennessee. Graduated Tennessee State University, one of our historically Black colleges and universities. Aircraft engineer by degree. Author of a book. Wrote about my misadventures as a Black engineer in corporate America. Don't let engineering ruin your life. Brother Lance was kind enough to do a review over the book with me several months back. Last year, actually. And we've been keeping in touch. So from time to time, we'll just call each other just to shoot a chat and talk about
exactly
what's in the world. And, based upon some things that I've witnessed in the last few months, I told Lance, I said, man, I'm really starting to think that credit is becoming the new Jim Crow, because as a community, the African American, the Afro Caribbean, whatever, unless you got the hookup, most black and brown people are still, how do I say this? We are still economically disadvantaged, and that is, part of it is through our own fault, but it all comes from the systemic bias and prejudices and unfair acts that the society continues to try to pour on us. That being said, if you notice, everything now is cash is still king, but is credit this. You need a card for this, a bank card for this, a bank card for that. Hell, for anybody that's just recently gotten a new cell phone, including myself, do you want to set up, I forget what Google's is or Samsung or whoever, but Apple got the Apple Pay.
Right.
And I mean, when I got my new phone, I think every freaking day for like a week, the little thing would come up and say, oh, do you want to link a card to this Apple account? I'm like, no, not right now. I mean, and they're programming us to, oh yeah, you got to have a card, you got to have credit.
Yeah.
And then if you notice, because sometimes I think, what was I watching? We were just sitting here watching TV. What's in your wallet? Capital One, the Visa card, Quicken Loans. All these borrowing entities. It's all being predicated. It's all being forced down your throat because people don't realize, and I'm reading this book kind of off and on, but I'm not trying to be able to. What's the word? I'm not trying to hype these book. I just want to give props where props is due, because this is something that I was just reading. But it's by
feel free, man. It's no problem. Okay. You don't have to apologize. Okay, well, drop it.
He's not he's not a club member as old folks say. He's a white guy out of I forgot where he's from, Iowa, Wisconsin. Former U.S. Congressman Steve Gunderson wrote a book, A New Middle Class, Creating Wealth, Wages, and Opportunity in the 21st Century. He does kind of start disparities between minorities and white America, but he doesn't really, delve into it. That's not the purpose of his book. Talk about personal credit right quick. And he says, they don't tell you this, but credit is debt. Skilled marketers never use the word debt. And he says we didn't really have an understanding until the crash in 2007, right? And then he talks about, he says, in the early years, the credit card was more of an alternative to cash or checks, not as a source of revolving credit, which is what it has become.
Right.
He says by 2003, now this is 15 years ago, okay? By 2003, 144 million Americans had charge cards with total debt reaching $1.5 trillion.
Oh!
Trillion.
Talk about a noose.
This was 15 years ago, okay?
Could you imagine now?
Dude, he said the average monthly balance had grown from 2250 in 1990 to basically $7,500 in 2003, an increase of over 200%. And basically, let's see, then he said people moved from credit cards to home equity lines of credit. But the big thing that that I just highlighted is, where is it? Dang, I lost it. Oh, here we go. He says, the decade between 2000 and 2010 has been called the lost decade because of the loss in wages, incomes, and net worth for many Americans. All right? So it's 2017. We're still getting bombarded with all these commercials. And then you notice how a lot of things now, they're telling you, oh, no credit check. Oh, we'll take you even if you got a low credit score. And I was sitting there, I said, okay, so what does this really mean? All right? I'm gonna go ahead and say it. My oldest son, he's a young man now.
Right.
And we were trying to, hook him up with a car, and it's like, okay, it's your car, you gotta pay for it. And the dude is sitting there talking about, oh, well, we can't loan him no money because he don't have no credit. I'm like, what do you mean? He's in college, he's graduated from high school, he's working. Why should he have credit? This is going to be like his first major, loan or whatever, right? And you're sitting here telling me you want to see a pattern, a purchasing pattern, like y'all are already putting people in a box. You know what I mean?
Right.
So basically, it really bothers me because you are forcing people to get credit cards. To be able to quote unquote borrow, if you telling me I'm a young person and I got some money saved up, been saving my nickels and dimes, and I say, okay, I wanna purchase, I wanna borrow half. But you're telling me you're not gonna loan me the money, even though I have no debt.
Right.
I have no debt. But because I quote unquote don't have credit, you don't have any credit. So that bothered me. And I'm saying to myself, all throughout our neighborhoods, we always see the check clash in places. And, oh, give us your car title and we'll give you a whole whopping dollars, and you and I both know $4,000 ain't shit. In the grand scheme of things, it really is. And then nobody is looking at the fact that they're not giving you this money for free. So then, if you got a low credit score, they jacking the interest up. And then if you fall behind on the payment, they, the big boys, and you know what I'm talking about. I can't put it out there, but the big boys, talking with some folks, they got law firms that are basically going to the courts, the sheriff's deputies, who are being paid by your taxes, are showing up at folks, serving them with summons, talking about, oh yeah, you got to be in court because you owe Bank of America $2,000 on this credit card that you done fallen behind on. And people, remember when your boy Joe Neckbone, shout out to him, by the way. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I gotta reach out to him.
remember when he mentioned how the one brother had just got a house or something and then got laid off like that same year?
Right, right.
And
he couldn't handle it. He freaked out.
Right.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to that brother, but a lot of us are caught up in this, well, you know, I'm making this much money so I can borrow this. And I forget what the rule is. You shouldn't borrow more than 2 or 3 times your income or something. Whatever the rule is. And a lot of us get caught up, and then we get caught up in these high interest loans. So like you said, it's a noose. You are trapped.
Right.
As the one old white dude told me, he said, you're working for the general store.
Right.
They are stringing you along, but in the meantime, they making money. They're making money hand over fist. And you know, it like I said, I'm looking at our community, and I'm thinking, okay, well, first of all, how many of us, quote unquote, how many of us are able to,
mm-hmm.
you know, just pay stuff down? We are, as a good friend of mine who's a businessman told me, he said, our biggest problem is access to capital and lack thereof.
Discipline.
Discipline, and then, of course, understanding business and compound interest. And then, of course, a lot of those old school teachings, you know, never have all your eggs in one basket, have
mm-hmm.
more than one hustle. You know, these are the things that, like you said, we got to teach. I mean, I'm reading one book, and the cat says a lot of people don't think about compound interest. But, of course, it's hard to do that now. And if you notice, a lot of the banks, things account, but they ain't hardly giving you nothing.
Right.
I'm getting one penny a month, but I can walk out here in the parking lot and find 75 cents in change. So hell, I done put about 1,600%. I done increased my rate of return. You know
right.
what I mean? But the bottom line is, if you got a medium to low credit score, they already put you in a box, and they've already judged you, you know. And so it's racial, but it's also becoming a class issue. You know, the class lines are becoming more and more. You know, I mean, right, and in a few more years, ain't gonna be no middle class.
But you know,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, we're doing it to ourselves. They appeal to us because, see, I'm just gonna say it. I'm not gonna say all black people, but too many, and many, we wear our esteem on our sleeve. First neighborhoods, and you'll see the billboards up with the sexy, scantily clad woman car that we couldn't ever afford, or we can get, but we're going to suffer in other areas of our life. So now here we are feeling less than. So we go out and make a purchase. It could be a car. It could be a gold chain. It could be a new television set. Whatever it is that boosts what we feel is our esteem. Our esteem should not be in material items anyway, right? So now they got us messed up behind that. They give us a credit to a point for foolish things, right? When you start to look at things that they deem as a threat, why is this nigger looking to go buy land? Why does he want land? No, we're not going to make it easy for him to maybe spend $15,000 or $20,000 or $25,000 on land. We'll tell him it is a little touchy right now that he's going to go on and have to go back. And it's almost like to make a phone call. This nigga's getting smart. He's looking to buy land, increase his credit card limits, tempt him, right? And then it's easier to go downtown to a dealership 99% of the time that's not owned by us, and we can sign on the dotted line easy and get a $49,000, $59,000 Benz or Lexus and drive around with that, because that's a noose around our neck and they keep control over us And they even decide where we live, and we don't even know. We think we're free. Credit decides what part of the city you're going to live in. I see it every day. Sorry to cut you, man. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. It's cool, brother. It's cool. No. Everything that you talk about, everything that we're discussing, basically.
I'm live, brother.
And you hit it on the head. Once again, my good friend, he's a businessman, told me. He said, "We are a consumer-based economy. This economy runs on us spending our money. Whereas other countries have some of the highest savings rates in the world, we are drowning in debt because, like you said, no discipline. I'm trying to teach my kids. Case in point. Reading this other book, 7 Figures in 7 Years, and the guy says, too many people equate spending with happiness, and you hit it on the head.
Right.
We think that every time we get some money in our pocket, as the old folks say, it's burning a hole. You got to get rid of it.
Right.
Spend it. Says it so simply, but so clearly in the book. The world is designed to take your money. And I was sitting there reading that, and I was like, aha! like the light bulb finally came on. Like, he's right. Everything we see, everything that's marketed towards us, everything that's forced down our throats, and I'm teaching my kids, these people are in business to make money.
Right.
They're not your friends.
No matter how much they smile.
Right. They trying to get your money. And so that's the thing. Once you use up your cash, because okay, case in point. I was looking at an online brokerage thing, right? And I was looking through the application, and you get there, and then all of a sudden it says, I think it was asking me like who was my employer? And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm trying to open up an investment account. Where I work should be none of your business.
Right.
How much do I need? How much am I trying to invest? Or you tell me what's the minimum amount to open up an account. Here's my minimum account. Here's my minimum amount. That's all you need to know. Whether I am a business executive or a drug dealer, if I got cash money and I want to invest in Google and Target and Walmart and all this other stuff, where I'm getting my money from is none of your business. That's the way I see it. You know what I mean?
Well, they want to know what plantation you're working from, because I believe with this electronic technology, rush. I was speaking to someone that has been in the mortgage game for many, many decades. What the name was, but it's where you have to input all of the documentation when one is going for a mortgage, right? And that way it protects. This is for the government now, so they can see every transaction. And I guess a red flag would go up if something crooked was going on, just like back in the day with the predatory loans, right? So everything has to be put in. And I believe that's a way of the government knowing if there's an imbalance, because if you're working at, say, Home Depot and make X amount of dollars, where did you get this massive down payment from? Where did you get the gall to go for a home that was $800,000 and that's all you make? So bing, a red flag goes up, and I guess they can audit you. Now that's my theory. Yeah, go ahead.
I had that. A guy, I wasn't friends with the cat or anything, but a guy that I was having conversation with told me he came into some money basically. Okay. Average Joe, working, and I forgot, how he got it. It wasn't illegal.
Right.
It wasn't illegal, but he came into some money, and all of a sudden, man, he said, not 3-6 months later, he getting a letter from the IRS. Went in, and they were straight up like you said, how the hell did you get this? What are you doing?
Right.
like okay. So yeah, they categorize us. They look at demographics, basically your race, ethnicity, whatever. And for census, okay, whatever. But the bottom line is back to the one book I was reading. The dude basically said too many Americans equate spending with happiness. You a sister, you got a decent income, but you got 100 dresses in the closet, and yet you can't find anything to wear. You got to go out and buy some more dresses or shoes. What is that? You know
I know.
And I'm not just knocking on the sisters. I'm saying, now, if you buying something and you wear it for a while and then you put it on the floor, or you donate it to the Goodwill or whatever, and you get a tax break on that, that's fine, whatever. But a lot of us don't think like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? We just buying, and then at the end of the day, like our multi-million-dollar athlete. Sorry about that. My dog.
Don't worry about that. That's surround sound.
Right. But no, the bottom line is they look at your potential income, because like I said, oh, you work for Procter & Gamble. Oh, this is your annual salary. Oh, well, let's give you this platinum card, but we ain't telling you about the 20%.
Right.
You know what I mean? We ain't telling you about the 14.99%. Anything above 5% is too much. You know, I mean, like I said, like the one old player back in St. Louis told me that he had some mafia connections. He told me, he said, just because they give it away don't mean it's free.
But, you know, also to interject too, I think we need to go and move along with the end in mind, meaning that it's just like Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. That was one of the first things that he said in the book. And he meant to say that, meaning that to let us know that this money thing, us generating money, all the things we buy is not going to last forever. There's a point where you're going to pass away and that's it. So why don't we move about thinking that way? Mrs. Scurv and I invested in a very nice bed, right? In my mind, if I have the luxury of a deathbed and I know I'm going to pass away and I'm going to do it at home, that's the bed I'm going to die in. I hate to say it sounds so gruesome, but it is what it is. So if I invest a little more in something I want at a younger age, I'm not a kid anymore, that's taken care of. If I invest when I get my living room set and say, I'm going to get this one that's quality that can last for a long time, instead of letting these leeches with this, what's the furniture places that the rent to own, cheap stuff that you're renting and it breaks down and you got to go back to these same people and get more stuff. If you spend on something quality that lasts you for the rest of your life. When we get to a certain age, the car that we get, SUV, vehicle, whatever it is, we need to think about the end in mind. When you get that last vehicle, all I'm saying is set your life up so you're not caught up in this merry-go-round where you're spending money and this plantation owner or financial slave master is just getting from you because you're looking at the latest fad. Why shouldn't we buy a car, a vehicle, and have oh God, I'm getting everybody calling me. Yeah, why can't we spend and say to ourselves, you know what? If I live to this certain age, this is the last vehicle I'm going to get. And we take care of that vehicle. And we understand that we're just going to use this to get from point A to point B in a reasonable amount of comfort. But no, the new cars come out and it's a new model. And we see the neighbor across the street and they have it. And we start to feel inadequate. And there's nothing wrong with the vehicle that we have. If we would invest in our body and our health, and I'm not saying go out and, you know, give the doctors all your money. It shouldn't be about that. That's after the fact. But proactively going after having better health and taking care of our bodies. We don't put cheap gas in our cars, but we go ahead and put cheap food in our bodies. And now we're stuck that way. So we're caught up in this matrix all kind of ways, and we need to go and think with the end in mind and back off out this game. I got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and I'm leaning back on the foot that's out. Sells even more instead of using this noose. Okay, I guess they don't understand. Maybe they're not watching the show. But
the other thing,
yeah, go ahead, man.
The other thing that I'm thinking about is when we look at the big picture, the whole picture. Wealthy people understand money, taught about money. If you haven't been taught how this loan and this mortgage game works, you are going to get caught up.
Right.
And a lot of us are getting caught up. anybody that's listening, if you're going to college or you got a young person in college, what happened? You own a yard, and I remember this. This is back in '89.
Right.
Freshman week, you had the marketers coming around giving the little gift package, with the shaving cream, deodorants, and all that other stuff. But what was tucked up in there? Credit card application. I remember that. MasterCard application. You know what I mean? They already trying to get you. What?
Right.
18, you legal now? Oh, a customer. So, and then like you said, the way that things are marketed, I gotta have it now. I can't wait. I gotta have it now. So we've been programmed, and especially in our community, we're making everybody rich, but ourselves.
Right. Right.
And I think I was reading something where they're saying more and more Americans are dying a ton of debt, and I'm wondering, okay, so what does that mean? Are they going to be going, like, if a person dies and they owe whoever $80,000 and they got a house that's worth $100,000, does that mean they can legally go after that house even though their children or grandchildren are living in it and they have no clue that, hey, you got all this debt? You know what I mean?
That can happen.
Set up, right. And then, of course, the last thing I'm going to mention, and I'm going to have to get off in a few minutes.
Sure.
Remember we were talking, and I told you, I said, brother, I see it coming. I'm already sitting here saying, okay, Mr. Scurv, you owe U.S. Bank $10,000, and you're behind. So, we understand things is tight, but we're going to start garnishing your wages. I mean, it's almost as bad, and this is no disrespect to the system, but we all know that the system gets abused.
Right.
It's like child, or what is it? Child support payments. In some cases, and I noticed talking with some acquaintances of mine that I mean, you know how young brothers get caught up and don't realize the game, and they get bent over. And in this one brother's case, he had a judge that basically all he saw was delinquent black male baby daddy. He didn't see young man trying to work his way through college.
Right.
Didn't even know he had a child until he got papers dropped on him. This is one of those situations. So I don't want to get too far off topic, but what I'm saying is they looking, they categorizing, and they're basically saying, well, we taking half your stuff. We understand you got mild speed, but this big bank is a federally chartered entity, and they want their money. And if you can't pay it, then we're gonna garnish your wages, and if you fall behind, then you don't serve 90 days in jail or something, or whatever. I mean, I see it coming, man. That is Chris. We're going right back to what happened in the 1800s in industrial England, and
right.
locked up. So it's coming, brother. It is coming. I don't care what people say. It's coming. I see it. Because they'll lock you up if you don't pay child support.
Then how can you pay it? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a setup.
Right. And then, one of my classmates, her brother, child support, got locked up, lost his, what is it? They take away your driver's license or something, and so now he can't get to work. Well, how can I get to work if you've taken away my driver's license?
Right. Right.
How can I do anything without my normal means of identification?
And there's so much pain. There's so much pain in the inner cities. Our penises become a source of escape and pleasure with all of these beautiful young ladies running around here. So they use that against us. Like they say, for those who follow the Bible, Satan comes to you in the straight path. So good, but then again, to build your community and to do, but it's like pleasure. Those are two of the most motivating forces in the world, pleasure and pain. We run from the pain and run right into the pleasure. So as we try to grow up and become, a gainfully employed young men, positive young men, there are a lot of things that bring us down. There's a lot of doom and gloom. Let me tell you something. When I drive that bus every day, it can get to me, man. It's like, man, people don't see how much doom and gloom is out here. better than no one, but I have my nose above the water, and it can get to me sometime. And this is why I try to speak to people and let them see, what really is going on, and why not to get pushed in just, well, when I hit that lotto and when I get that luxury car and what, and where are you living? How are you living? It doesn't mean that you have to be in a zip code or living somewhere where it's some, 6-figure incomes coming in, but, try to improve your situation and secure yourself.
Right. Well, let me say this. The one thing the dude said, he said, don't equate spending with happiness.
Right.
And then he also said, money is power. Freedom and power are more important than temporary, temporary happiness. So that's where the sacrifice comes in. Now, remember the rush card? Remember that whole?
Yeah. Like with something good.
I just thought about that. And I don't know. I mean, is it still around? Because wasn't Russell was he was basically trying to come up with was this supposed to be a credit card or a debit card? I don't even remember. But
I think it was a debit card.
Okay.
I think it was.
Because remember, a lot of people had tied their paychecks into it, and when the system crashed or whatever, people had tied everything into their rush cards. They couldn't use their rush cards, so they couldn't buy food. They couldn't pay their rent. It was a mess.
Right.
I'm just sitting here, and then last night, I was talking with my wife, and I was actually looking over this brochure from this one small bank that I was actually thinking about, and they got this one account talking about 50 cents per check or debit purchase. I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, hold up, you gonna charge me now? You giving me a checking account for writing a check? That doesn't even make sense.
Right.
We both were just sitting there like, well, hell, we might as well just go to Kroger and get the money order for 50 cents.
Right. Right.
Why should I put my money in the bank?
That's right.
My whole purpose of putting the money in the bank is to collect interest. That's really what it should be about. Hell, I can keep money under my mattress if I ain't getting no return of it. Like the old lady in Mississippi that died and they found like over $100,000 in her mattress. Remember that?
I'm not mad at her.
Yeah, she just saved up, and that's what we've gotten away from, man. We ain't saving nothing.
We're not saving, and the whole thing about electronic money. What happens when the crash comes very soon? And imagine they say, only take out $35 out of the bank account. Right? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Right. Because this is what happened to the cash. The dollar is scorned worldwide anyway. That should tell you something. But see, we're not caught up in that. We don't look at those things beyond the shores. We trust in our, domestic master to filter whatever news we should see. Or we're caught up in the whole ratchet thing, and we don't know what's going on with the very money in our pocket. That we should be going for some gold. Storing up some gold, because we can grab the gold physically and run out of the country, and guess what? That gold has value anywhere we go in the world. The cash may not. The dollar can drop, and I always say this on every show. The show we did many years ago where they said that the 1973 dollar or the current dollar, which was like in 2014 at the time, but it's comparable, is only 13 cents of the 1973 dollar. Right? So remember back in the day, for those of us who can remember, when our parents or guardians or caretakers or whoever, grandparents, right, went to the supermarket, you would spend $25, and you would fill up the carts 2-3 times over, more or less, $50 or whatever. That was a lot of money. When you were a kid, you take $1, stick it in your sock. I'm talking back in the 70s, and you go out in the park and play with your friends. You had enough. Get something to snack on, get something to drink before hours later in the hot sun, you went home to go eat dinner. And you still had some quarters and dimes and nickels jumping around in your sneaker when you tried to play. Like, oh, let me move this around. I got no pockets. Right? So it's diminished now. And so we're going to need to keep that cash. There's nothing. Look, we're giving them money, our money to hold on to for what? So they can use it and give loans to who they want to give it to and deny us?
Well, remember the other thing too, and this is what nobody's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
What the cat mentioned in the book: declining wages. decline in wages, loss of income. More and more jobs are moving overseas.
Right.
I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, what I mentioned before, we are becoming a knowledge-based economy. People are getting paid by what they know.
Right.
So how we going to keep the oppressed oppressed? We're not going to educate them. We're going to keep them in these low-income neighborhoods. We're going to keep them in these underperforming schools.
Right.
We're not going to pour any money or resources into them. Okay. And we're basically getting you ready for the school to prison pipeline. And then, my daughter just handed me the mail. Here we go, American Express. Earn a welcome bonus of up to 75,000 membership rewards. Qualified. What the hell?
You're under surveillance anyway. You're always pre-qualified.
Let's see.
Or targeted.
Right.
They're watching your every move.
This is going straight into the strata. But anyway, but no, they are. What was I saying? The school, the low income, you're being categorized, and then we're gonna lock you up. Corrections Corporation of America is going to continue to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Your tax dollars are going to pay them to keep you locked up. Nobody's thinking about that.
Right.
Also, when everybody's listening gets a chance, look this up, because I just stumbled across it on a humbug and showed a friend of mine who was in the military and he had no clue this existed.
Mm-hmm.
This is a government program, the EB-5 visa program. Basically, back in 1990, they started this thing. The American economy has been in a mess since the late 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's slowly starting to come to light. But we are depending more and more on foreign capital investment to stay above water because Americans don't have anything. We are borrowing on money that does not exist. Okay? For a minimum investment of $1 million, foreign persons and their children under the age of 21 can basically buy permanent residence over here. Okay? And now, the other thing I need people to research, because I tried to research it, but when I went home to Memphis a few weeks ago for my mother's birthday,
right,
he said to me, oh yeah, the Chinese have bought Walmart. Has anybody heard about that? I heard some Chinese investment firm is trying to buy $500 billion, $500 billion, $100 billion, something like that. Whatever they are worth.
Right.
I heard that they're either trying to buy them or they have bought them and they've just been real quiet with it. What's going to happen is most, if it's true, they're going to come in, they're going to put their own people in charge, and not only will the federal government continue to owe the Chinese government, but now the average American is going to be getting even more of their money to their entities, because most of these quote unquote Chinese businesses are government backed anyway.
Right.
And I told a cat the other day, I said the Chinese are going to take over this country and they're not going to fire a single bullet.
Yep.
And unfortunately, like I read this one article, the Chinese dudes, they asked him about the whole, Chinese African American relationship, whatever. He was straight up. He said, hey, we don't have nothing against, black folks, but we're going to take care of each other first. But
we're spending with everybody. We want to so-called be included with everybody. And we don't even look to what we need to do for ourselves. And it's foolish, man, because people don't see that it's real. And like we said about spending feels so good. It's like crack. It's crack. It's like being addicted to crack, which I don't know anything about. But from what I see, spending hits the pleasure centers of the brain. You feel bad or depressed about something. You're envious of a friend. I'm going to go out and buy the bigger house or the bigger car, and I'm going to treat myself to something so I can feel superior. And that high slowly comes back down. So then we feel depressed again. We got to go. It's like a person, I won't say lady, right? But yeah, I'll say a woman who gets depressed after breakup, and she wants the eating the chocolate cake or piece of chocolate, right? So we do these things to ourselves. It's like a heroin addict shooting a smack in our arm, and we nod out for a little while, and then we come back down into a deeper depression, and we go right back for that and parade around and whatever. You know, we got to change and rewire ourselves, seriously.
Right. Yeah, it's something, man. But you know, one brick at a time. All I can say is, if you can, the couple of things. Scrutinize every purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, like you said, if I can get a good quality shirt that's gonna last me at least 3 years for $10, as opposed to spending $50 for this polo shirt that, number one, was probably made in some third world country in a sweatshop, and the shirt ain't no better. It's the same material, cotton, synthetic, whatever. I mean, all these factors you got to look at. I mean, I'm an old man now. I go. I mean, you know, we be checking out Marshalls and TJ Maxx
right.
and whatnot. What
right.
I mean, we still like to go to Target, but for me to spend $30 or $40 on a shirt,
I know
that damn thing better last me 10 years. I still got 2 shirts in my drawer from when I was in college.
Right.
Believe it or not, college.
There's no shame in that.
You know.
There's no shame in that.
You know, I'm very, and this is just me, I'm very practical, I'm very utilitarian. Remember when I told the story about the Timberland boots?
Yeah.
You know, wife bought me some boots, name brand, quote unquote, for however much it was. Them boots didn't last me a year. I ain't bought a pair of Timberland since. And the whole borrowing thing, you know, you got to be careful, okay? Especially to our young people, okay? I'm about to wrap this up.
Take your time.
If you have a credit card, if you can, don't use it unless you know you got the money in the bank, okay? Now, we know that emergencies are going to come up. We know that things are going to happen, but that's why you save your money. That's why you have your rainy day fund. So you don't have to use that credit, okay? Because if you fall behind on one payment, you are in trouble. You do have to take out an auto or a home loan. What do they tell you? They say, hey, $200 a month, try to put a little extra on it towards the principal to pay that joint down. You know what I mean?
You're doing yourself a favor.
Right. And don't even think about it.
Right.
Don't even think about it. You know, everybody should have remember the old pickle jars, the big ones?
Right.
Or the water jugs, the 5-gallon water jugs. Remember how folks would throw change in there?
That's right.
And, you know, at the end of the year, that was your Christmas.
That's the mentality that we should have.
You ain't got to go out and borrow nothing. You ain't got to go out and borrow nothing. Don't go to these easy credit, whatever.
Right.
There's no such thing.
Right.
No such thing. You're going to be trapped. You know, it gets on the record, and when you do want to make a purchase that you really need, you know, you trying to borrow this money or get this mortgage or whatever, or get this business loan. They pull up your credit history, and if it's jacked up, you in trouble. You're
not getting it. That's right.
You know, and that's when we really become victims of the predatory loans. Because we ain't thinking about it. So anyway, brother, that's my story for today. I just hope that you know, as a collective, you know, a rising tide raises all ships. It comes down to ownership. And right now, we don't hardly own nothing.
That's right. Yeah. Brother.
So I appreciate it, man. We're gonna talk again.
Yes.
And for everybody out there, just want to wish you well. I'll do some things. You know, they do have, CCCS, Consumer Credit Counseling Services. They do have programs that are, you know, locally and state-based as far as support. And because we know life is gonna happen, people gonna lose jobs, people gonna
Right.
get in accidents, and people gonna have, you're gonna have a death in the family. So as Black folks, as colored folks, we need to have those conversations with our parents and grandparents.
That's
we
right.
need to. We don't want to talk about it. We got to make arrangements because this system, Mama Florine just passed, but hey, she still owes taxes on this house, so y'all need to pay them taxes, or we get in that house.
Right.
And that is rampant.
Mm-hmm.
You always hear about people losing, oh, I had my father's house and I lost it because I didn't know he owed $8,000 in taxes.
Yeah, but what happened to the communication that they should know these things, that we should speak about these things? Let me tell you something. I know someone who they knew they were going to pass away. They had a terminal illness, and they let their family run up all of his credit cards on purpose. Like, listen, and not just to go shopping, but to set themselves better. So when he passed away, they didn't know anything, and they had all this stuff. It's crazy. Look, we got to be predatory back toward those entities that are predatory to us, because it's like a fight. Am I going to drop my guard and say, I like you, you're a nice person, you can punch me? No, I'm keeping my guard out, and I'm trying to knock you out like you're trying to knock me out. It's vicious, because when you're out on the street and you have nothing, they don't care. And people say, well, slavery is over, but they'll make us slaves in other ways, and we just don't see it because we have this shiny little object in our hand or parked out in front of our house.
Right. And then, last thing, as far as I talked to a cat that he works at a what do you call it, the Carvana place or whatever, on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And he said most of the people that are coming in there, that you already got a low credit score. Why are you trying to get this used BMW for $35,000? Most of the places that will loan you the money are charging you 15, 20. In one case, he said it broke his heart because he couldn't, I guess for his job, he can't sit there and say, hey, look, do you really want to do this? His whole job is to sell cars.
Right.
He said he's sitting there going over the paperwork, and he was trying to tell him in so few words, like, look, I don't think this is a good idea. You working at Walgreens, and your interest rate gonna be through the roof. Over half your check gonna go towards this car.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
I don't want it. I don't want it. I'll stick with my 1996 Toyota Corolla. I haven't even fixed the window on the driver's side. I gotta push it up so the rain doesn't hit me. But you know what? It helps me on my 8-minute commute to the job, and my esteem is healthy, and I put my weight on different aspects of my life more so than just driving this car, because you know what? It's going to be a year older. You're paying out all this money for what? A self-esteem in check. I'm not hating on anybody who may purchase that, right? It's fine if you can afford that, if that's what you want. It could be a lifelong thing or whatever, but as long as you're in balance with everything else and you're not hurting yourself, are you secure enough to do that?
Right. That's the thing. Can you afford it? If you can't afford it, take care of it. Oh, and the last thing, I meant to say this several minutes ago, even if you live in a project, there doesn't have to be trash on the floor. There doesn't have to be trash on the ground. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a corner, but make it the best corner it can be until you can get to something better.
Right.
Like we used to joke, yeah, it's a hoopty, but it's a clean hoopty. So unless it's a work truck or something, like you working on a construction site and it's dirty or whatever.
Right.
Well, listen, brother, I appreciate it, man. I want to wish everybody well. I thank you for the opportunity. And, until we talk again, everybody stay safe. Brother, I'm going to have to go ahead and check out. Yes.
Thank you so much, brother. We're going to talk later on today, quickly, or tomorrow, and we'll line up some more things. I'm definitely going to go in on this longer, and allow everybody to call in because we're getting some wonderful ideas and insights here. I'm going to run also. Like I said, this was like a sneak attack. I was busy doing so many different things. Like I said, we're going to keep on doing shows. It's not going to be a thing where it stops because what other folks are complaining about. I never depended on this for a living. You know what I mean? This is my hobby. I love it. This is my passion. This is my mission. And this is one wing of what I do. And I've been out here online since 2002. And so nothing's going to change until God calls me home. And check out the show that I just uploaded with Pastor Janine about the drama of Christian dating. I just put it up. We did this discussion last night. We're going to have her on more. And we want to talk about these controversial topics. Please let me know what you want to talk about. My email is scurvmedia@gmail.com. Scurv Media. Scurv after the V, there is no E. It's SCURV as in Victor, media@gmail.com. As always, download the LanceScurv app at the Google Play Store, the Amazon Store, and the Apple Store. It's free. It's not jacked up. It's won't mess up your phone. It's legitimate. You can hit me for any topic. Text preferred because they get through easier. I have to drive and I have to keep my phone off most of the time. 407-590-0755. Subscribe to the channel. Let's use this platform to talk about the things that the mainstream media is not engineering us and prodding us into these crazy topics. Let's talk to each other, especially if you're out of the country. Let's have a world view as opposed to a local view. Because if we go by what the media guides us to look at, we won't even know what's going on around the corner in our own community. And we got to stop that. We had it better off in a way and in a sense before we had social media. When we had the bus boycott during the civil rights movement, there was no smartphones, there was no Facebook, but the word got out better. Now we're distracted. I can go off on that rant another time. We're going to do several shows coming up. Dusty, love you, brother, righteously. Thank you. If you can, quick, tell us how to get your book.
Okay. For anyone that's interested in my book, you can look at it. You can find it on Amazon, but they gonna rate me on the profits. But the title of the book is "Don't Let Engineering Ruin Your Life" by Dusty R. Walker Jr. I would prefer if you got it from my website. It's www.CONSYSENG.com. If you order it from my website, I'll autograph it and I'll drop ship it to you. Thanks again, Brother Man.
Yes.
Much love, much respect, and God bless you and your family.
Thank you so much. Peace, brother.
All right, brother.
Okay, thank you. Yes. I'm ready to leave right now, too. It's been a while since we did a live show, and I hate to leave right now. And we're going to schedule more this week, more things, more here and there. I'm going to be grinding. I love it. The feedback, just all I ask. I don't ask anybody for any money. I can go and work and earn more. And, I have what I have here. My voice is going now. Got a cough, right? So I'm blessed to have that. So I'm going to use this and work it and work it and work it, to help us have a platform that, we can join in on and vibe on. That's the goal. Because like I said, there's other things that I do, right? So instead of paying money to some white man's billboard to advertise what I do, I use the free YouTube here. And the other things that I do, that's advertising right there. So I don't have to ask you for anything. I can work. Bottom line is, Black folks are suffering right now. We have our own issues. Everybody, but my concern is us, because I see this every single day and we're just so unaware about what's happening in the world. So we need to motivate each other, keep each other, hip on what's going on. Sometimes I see it's like we almost did better on the plantation. Master was standing over us with a whip and we would sing information to each other. Now we have smartphones and our brains are clogged up with foolishness or hating on each other. And you're going to realize that, like I always say, at the end of the day, in this society and with the oppression, is that all we have is us. You all take care. Know that I love you. We'll be back. Hit me back. Give me the feedback. Let me know what you want to talk about. And we're going to get down in it, bold, raw, and uncut. Take care.